Welcome to Empowered Abundance. I'm Lori, and I'm just wondering, are you ready for 2020 to be your best year ever? I mean, if I asked you, are you living fully alive? Would you be able to emphatically tell me yes? Or is life maybe stressful, or you have a lot of anxiousness in your life, or worry about your finances or your relationships or your kids? What if I told you that living fully alive wasn't as far off as you think it might be? A lot of times when I say the word fully alive, I guess that's two words, but anyway, when I say fully alive, people go, Lori, I'm alive. My heart beats, I'm breathing. Yeah, I get that. So to be alive, we're 100% physical, right? That's our aliveness. So being alive is that. It's the heart beating. We're breathing. Our nervous system is working. Our hands are moving, right? But being fully alive is actually infusing the 100% of us that's non-physical. So what is that? It's our mental, it's our emotional, it's our psychological, and a big part of it is our spiritual, right? So when we have both of those engaged together in proper relationship, that is fully alive. So how does one become fully alive? Well, you guys, it's really simple. It's some really foundational principles that awake this non-physical part of us. When we engage that non-physical part of us, it actually allows us to live the physical part of us with more abundance. And really, you guys, that's the goal, to live more abundantly. And when I say more abundantly, I don't just mean money. I mean flourishing relationships, joy, purpose in the work that you do. That's what I'm talking about. What does that look like? Well, it's actually just looking at some real foundational principles and then building upon them. It's kind of like football. So I love football. So I remember it was like 1989, and San Francisco had just won their second consecutive Super Bowl. And the city had just erupted in celebration, and a girlfriend of mine and I were walking around, and we walked past this house, and everyone is partying, and they're like, hey, come in. So we go in, we have a drink, we eat some food, and we left, and just a few blocks down there's another house, and they're like, hey, come in. And we spent the rest of the evening just jumping from place to place, experiencing all of this celebration. And I was like, man, if this is football, I want to be a football fan. And I've been a football fan ever since. And so a few years later, when, I guess 7 years later, when I had my son, one of the first toys I got him was a little stuffed football. And by the time he was 3, he understood the concept of football. There was a ball. In fact, ball was his first word. But there was a ball, and one team was trying to get it to one end, and the other team was trying to get it to the other end. And so he grasped the concept of football. And then he started playing at like 6, Pop Warner and flag football. And when you're playing at that level, you don't apply all the rules, like if the kids are moving or they start a little bit early, it's no big deal. I don't think they actually threw the ball very often, if ever. The kids would pull the flag and then jump on each other and roll around because, that's what they see on TV. And nobody calls a flag on it. They just say, hey, you're not supposed to do that. But then when he got into pads a few years later, then the rules became a little bit stricter, right? You couldn't start early, but maybe they didn't worry about the moving. They started throwing a little bit more. Pass interference became a thing, right? And as they grow, the rules changed. And so right now, my son is actually a high school football coach. And even at football, they're watching gameplay. They're strategizing against specific opponents, right? And they're practicing every day. It's taking these fundamentals and practicing them on a regular basis, right? Even and physically and mentally, as far as the strategizing and maybe fine-tuning specific skills, but also mentally, right? Russell Wilson's already won a Super Bowl, and he has let me get it right, a mental performance coach. So it's all about mindset, right? But he's practicing his mindset. He's already won a Super Bowl, yet he's still playing and practicing and working on his mental capacities, right? Tom Brady has won, I think, 6 Super Bowls, and he's still practicing and he's still playing, right? So the foundation is there, and then we build upon it, right? So living fully alive starts out at getting those principles in your cognitive understanding. And then more abundance and more abundance and more abundance comes by continuing to practice those fundamental principles, right? So I am going to do a series of 10 or 12 videos that are going to highlight those starting principles. And you guys, sometimes it's things that we already know, right? But Vince Lombardi, one of the winningest coaches in football history, there's a story where he would come in at the beginning of every spring training and he would hold up a football and say, "This is a football." Right? And at that level, you guys, they're still going back to the fundamental principles of football to understand how to play it at its best, right? So if the winningest coach in football starts out with "this is a football," I'm going to start out with "this is your mind, this is your body, and this is your spirit." Now, how do we get those things to work together to experience this fully aliveness? So if that sounds fun for you, then subscribe so you can get a notification when I put out these videos. And please feel free to ask questions, make comments. And you guys, let me just be super vulnerable right now. I am not super tech savvy. So if I haven't responded to a question or a comment, it's not that I didn't want to, and it's not that I didn't get to it. It's probably that I missed it. So please feel free to re-ask or put another comment and say, "Hey, Lori, you didn't, get back to me." But I'm super excited to bring you these videos. So I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.